Hello, my
Hi.
name is Adam, and I have a coin trick for you. Ready? I will now pull a coin out of the air. Yeah, here it is.
Oh,
Yeah, that went great. Yep. I should have practiced before the show.
yep. 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 Well, welcome everyone to the 800's. I'm Alan and I'm here with my fantastic and magical co-host Adam. He practices a lot of magic.
Yes.
Uh Oh man. Well, uh, yeah. So welcome to the 800's. We are a online kind of streaming book club, and thank you for joining us. If you're joining us live, and thank you for joining us in the VOD in the future. Adam, why don't you go ahead and take it off to the plugs, and we'll get on with the show.
Sure thing. If you joined us before our pre-show, you heard some cool music. That was Fearless First from Incompetech. You should check them out. They've got a ton of cool tunes and rockin' melodies. Check out their full score list. Go to incompetech.filmmusic.io. We use them for everything, so you should too. Also, we have an Etsy page where we sell cool stuff like 3D prints of nerd culture.
Yeah, like
Alan recently,
yeah, the Bridge 4 keychain. Do you have it?
yeah,
Oh, no,
it's upstairs.
I thought you were reaching for it.
No, sorry.
If I was a wise man, I would have had one prepped and ready to go, but I didn't. We
Yeah, mine's
also
upstairs.
released Hollow Knight keychains. They're
Hey,
pretty
cool.
cool. I've got these like Hollow Knight, the Shade, and the Knight, and their friendship keychains. They're pretty slick. So go check out the Etsy page. You can actually get to our Etsy page by going to www.dmstable.com/Etsy.
Yeah, check it out. Make Alan work on his printer and stuff. Also, we use Audible for a lot of our book needs. I personally prefer audiobooks over physical books just for purely time constraints and that extra medium to absorb the book in. Audio is a interesting media transfer thing. The
It's
word
going to
is
be a
not
great
coming
show
to
tonight.
me. Audiobooks just give you a whole new level of experience for the book, so you should check it out. Go to dmstable.com/audible for a free month of their subscription service, which gets you a book or two or maybe even three free if they could make up their minds about what they want it to be. Also, we have a YouTube page. You should check that out. The link is below the video that you are seeing, unless you're watching it on YouTube, in which case you're already there. So don't worry about it. You know where to go. Alan, what book are we reading? Or what book did we read?
Yeah, what book did we read? Indeed, we read American Gods by Neil Gaiman. Um, this book was a book that kind of, well, it doesn't kind of, it does. It follows a man named Shadow Moon from his incarceration and all the way until his ultimate um, release, I guess, freedom, if you will, at the end of the book. It was a wandering uh, journey book that follows Shadow across America with his employer, Wednesday.
Yeah. Got all sorts of thematic elements to it. They're
Absolutely.
varied and far between. Far between. If this is your first time joining us tonight, I'll give you a quick rundown of how this show operates and functions. Essentially, we're going to have a topic or question that Alan and I are discussing live in front of your faces. That topic or question will be either something Alan and I come up with ourselves or something we pull from chat. So if you guys watching have something that you want to talk about the book, feel free to throw it in chat at any time, at any point. We'll try and grab it and throw it up when next we need a topic. Otherwise, while we pitch topics to discuss, Alan and I will talk back and forth about it to give you guys a chance in chat to respond with your own thoughts. And we'll give you guys a shout out if you say something cool like bananas and that's my favorite fruit, or something else relevant to American Gods.
Yeah, absolutely. And as always, this is not really a kid's show. It is not geared towards kids. We are not reading usually kid-friendly books. Most of the books we've read, including this book, deal with adult topics, and that means that we'll be talking about adult topic things and having adult conversations. So, we respectfully ask everybody to have a meaningful conversation that promotes a sense of community. That doesn't mean we won't disagree, but that means that we will respect each other. And with that, be nice or fuck off.
I like the dramatic pauses in there.
Yes, I gotta
Good.
top Alex somehow.
see what he comes back with when
That's right.
when he gets back to the show. All right, let's get this conversation rolling. Enough of us trying to get through the intro crap here.
Yeah.
What were your first impressions of American Gods?
Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm so excited to talk about first impressions. I was so worried and so pissed about this book at the start. Do you know why? Because I realized early that this book was very similar to a book we hated called what is it? Jade something. It was of Jade and Shadow or something like that. Oh my god. I was so upset when I started listening to this book because I was like, I've already been through this. I don't want to do this again. That was my first impression.
Yeah, I definitely gave a Gods of Jade and Shadow
I think so.
vibe. For me too. Sans that weird love bullshit that the other one had.
Yeah. Oh.
I will say right from the get-go, I noticed Gaiman has something that a skill that I absolutely love authors who have, which is the ability to ramble constantly and have it be not totally boring.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it did have me a little bit worried at the beginning because it seemed kind of rambly.
Yeah, I think we've drawn that similarity between Gods of Jade and Shadow, and I think I want to early on say we're not going to compare that book. We're not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just kind of establishing Like, I don't want to get into, what one book did better than the other or anything like that, unless it draws to the, um, unless it comes about in the conversation in a helpful manner. But we both crapped on that Gods of Jade and Shadow book pretty hard, and I just don't want it to be another hate session on that book. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I was really worried about the rambling as well. Um I found through some of our past books that that's not really my jam. Um the whole like just write and write and write. And the book we read, the 10th anniversary, actually had a foreword by Neil, talking about how he wrote on the road as he was like touring America and kind of following Shadow through his story. So that really came through in his writing. Was like it felt like it felt like he didn't quite know where the story was going. Through I would say the first half of the book. Um, but I was pleasantly surprised at the end where, in the last like I would say like last like quarter or last third, things from the start started like coming together. And that I think is where the rambling and the long form, I call it long form storytelling, but the it's not succinct. He's talking about stuff that usually won't matter, um, and I think how he brought things from earlier in the book into the end of the book and kind of wrapped it up nicely was the only way I enjoyed this style of writing. Because if it didn't do that, I know I would have felt robbed at the end, robbed of time. But I think he did a good job with his writing style, even though it's not quite my jam. I respect it. He did a good job.
Yeah, I gotta say I didn't really understand what the plot was until the second half of the book.
Yeah,
Like
same.
it seemed like there was a plot, there was something about gods and wanting to not die. But then we followed Shadow for like the longest time while he did other things. And I was like, okay, was that the plot? Are we gonna circle back? What's going on with his little journey here? Um, it was, I'd say, refreshing. I'd say about 2 hours left in the book when it all started to accumulate and um, Odin was like, "Yeah, this is totally what the heck I'm thinking," and Shadow was like, "Oh yeah, okay, I get what was going on now, you dick."
Are you talking about like after the tree?
Yeah,
Gotcha. So about the tree was when it started like folding together for me, and that's when I started making the connections of like he's related somehow.
yeah,
Before it like said like right up, in the tree. Like he's related. I was like, "Whoa. Okay. Okay. There's things happening. There's a lot of imagery and symbolism that's happening." That's something that I enjoyed out of Neil's writing was there was a ton of symbolism. And like not only was his magic system. We're gonna call everything magic system. Um, not only was his magic system based on symbolism, but he himself invoked a lot of symbolism just through like the actions they took. Um, there was a lot of times in the book where Shadow and Wednesday's journey felt like echoes of other epics, right? So, um, yeah. Hmm.
shall we? shall we get into a topic? I've got a
Yeah,
topic
yeah.
in
I
mind.
kind of I kind of threw out there
That
thoughts on his writing style was kind of
oh,
where
I
we
missed
kind
that.
of naturally no, that's fine. Where we kind of naturally grew to. Did you have any more you wanted to add about his writing style?
Yeah. So I mentioned the rambling,
Yep.
being an excellent rambler, and managed to keep it interesting with random tidbits of lore and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, I really felt like his writing style lent to a sense of good character definition for everyone. To
Yeah.
me, it seemed like this book was a book of characters, not necessarily a book about some sort of story that was going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see that. Like his the story was about the characters, not about the world. It was about
Yeah.
interpersonal relations. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. I um I enjoy like how he like showed the old gods like just getting by. And I think like granted it wasn't I don't think it was the first thing in the book that I was like, "Oh gosh, this is going to be like a book I can't listen to in the car with my kids." Um,
Yeah.
but it was certainly a defining one. Was when who did who was it that they met? It was they named her later. Um, but anyways, one of the old gods who was like literally eating a guy through her nether regions.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean like
I don't remember her name, but yeah.
yeah, Bilquis? Bilquis? No. Yeah, yep, Bilquis.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yep, yep. Um, yeah, I mean, I I don't know. His writing style was very raw and it was very like I don't want to say dingy. What was that? Grunge. It was grungy. Like I've seen a lot of like the covers for these books and the covers are very grungy too, and that makes a lot of sense. Like this writing was very raw, real, grungy, it had a lot of those feelings. It wasn't idealism, it was showing the sin in the world. It was showing like you know what wrongs people make. Um it was enjoyable. It was it was enjoyable even though it got really like I don't know, really adult, really gross sometimes.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed the writing style for what it was. If I put aside the whole like rambling part, he still did a really good job with uh his imagery and stuff like that. I think biggest call out, uh my biggest criticism is his like conversations between characters feel forced. Some of the
Hmm.
conversations feel real, but some of them are like too real and too like I don't know, like it was like he'd write a line that Shadow would say and then he would say something like and then the waitress said, "Hmm." And then it would keep going and it wasn't like she continued. She just said, "Hmm." And then Shadow kept going and it was like why did you put that? Why didn't you put it in a different way? Why didn't you say something like the waitress hummed thoughtfully, something like that. It was just really awkward his conversations sometimes. That's my biggest criticism. It was something that felt it felt underdeveloped. Out of a book that felt pretty polished, his conversations felt underdeveloped in my opinion.
I can see where you're coming at with that. I didn't particularly notice it when I was listening, but I could have just skipped over it and assumed I was
I think
not listening well enough. Yeah.
well, I think it's something that like could be personal preference too. Like if you're not sensitive to like that kind of conversation. I mean, I was already kind of not forcing myself, but like he had to sell me on this writing style, right? And so I'm already skeptical as a reader, and then I'm tuned into now like negatively thinking about what are you doing, Neil? Why are you doing this? Why aren't you writing it a different way that makes it flow better? Um, Granted, I think like taking a step back from the criticism side, I could see how it could have been a creative choice too, because it would lend more to the gritty, grungy nature, right? Your conversations feel more real. Um, in those situations, yes, people would have reacted like that, but it also felt like writing fluff. You could have wrapped it up in a different way.
So let me pose this
Mhm.
topic.
Mhm.
Shadow's time in jail. Do you how do you feel like that affected his character background as a convict?
So first off, I totally called Loki right at the start. Right at the start. I just want to say it wasn't in my opinion, I don't think it was that hard of a like, oh, American gods, we're setting things up. Yeah, Loki. Um yeah, but called it. Um no, I think it was a great setup to kind of show his his like personality, his mannerisms, and his like what is it like how he like handles stressful situations. Um, Looking back at it from the end now, I could see where like Laura was saying like he doesn't seem alive because he looked at that situation very like rational and calm seeming. Granted, I've never been incarcerated. Um, but I feel like the I feel like he was doing his time, and though he had the right answers, it didn't feel like he was rehabilitated because I don't think it hit him to be like he needed to be rehabilitated. You know what I mean? Like it felt more like he was gaming the system of like, okay, I'm just here to do my time and wait for time to pass. And that was and maybe that's how it is in prison. I don't know. But I think it showed a good setup for like the character that we see through the book of someone who is very just chill and whatever, man, as long as you're following my terms and I'm following your terms, I'm cool with whatever. Very like I would say if I had to like give him an alignment, I would I would give him like a probably like a close to neutral, like a very almost true neutral. Maybe neutral good, where he does have some sort of morals, but his morals are very flexible and can be changed based on situations. That's where I give him neutral. But because he has those morals and he has some sort of code, like trying to find those kids and uh, trying to like I don't know, show the killer the kids off. That's not a good way of saying it, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like he felt compelled to put these kids to rest and like expose the killer. That's what I was trying to say. And so I would say he's a good character. Um, but yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I think he toes that line between staying in the perfect neutral center and
Hmm.
popping towards good. I think he definitely went the opposite way before his incarceration.
Oh yeah.
Obviously incarcerated for um, beating up his fellow bank robber.
Yeah. Yep.
But for me, for most of the book, I struggled with understanding why it mattered that he was a convict till until close to the end when, well, I guess probably more towards the middle when I really started seeing like his essentially withdrawal from making decisions. He just goes, "Yeah, I'm in a situation. I'm gonna do whatever
Yep.
is needed of this situation. I'm not really gonna make decisions." I think I think that's kind of what change Shadow needed to go through is he needed to escape that mindset that he put himself in while he was in prison of just going along with the flow. He needed to break that and start understanding, all right, what do I want to do? What's the right thing to do instead of just I'm just going to do whatever somebody asks me to do.
See,
Go with that.
I kind of took that like description as that's how he's always been. Just based on what Laura said and stuff. I kind of took him as like a go with the flow, quiet guy. You know what I mean? And so like I didn't quite get where you were where like prison is what caused this. I took it as like this is how he was beforehand, right? Laura said jump, and he said sure, fuck it. And 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 they robbed a bank and then he beat the shit out of the his uh companions and then went to jail. You know, I don't know. Yeah, he feels like a very go with the flow kind of guy.
What about that name? Like,
Shadow?
why Shadow?
So here's my theory. I think Shadow's name was taken away completely. I think that Shadow is a placeholder name, even though he describes how he got the name. I think because his name was taken at the tree, his name was always taken for his entire life.
Hmm. That would kind of make sense with like the description of how he felt about taking the alias in the town he settled in
Yep,
for a while
yep, yep.
because
Mike.
he felt like it was his and then he was abandoning it later.
Yeah, yep. That's my theory. Um, yeah. I did like how he like fell into the roles. Like he was what was he like a cop manager or something like that, like a security manager or something like that for a quick second when they robbed that bank. Um
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was pretty cool like he was taking those things on. I didn't necessarily see him becoming a like being a demigod until much later. But yeah, I thought it was his exposure to Odin or to Wednesday that was giving him these powers, right? Thinking about the weather and like being able to take on these roles in such a way that people just believed him. Did you were you uh tuned into the death of his wife?
Tuned into, what do you mean tuned
Like
into?
like how that was manipulated and stuff? that Neil
Yeah,
Neil
because
hinted pretty heavy that Wednesday had a hand
right
in
at the
killing.
start, he said if it could have happened any other way. And
Yep. Yep.
I was like, yeah, at that point, I was like, all right, so he's the bad guy
Yep.
then.
This bitch killed her. This bitch killed her. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. And then like the description of how it happened from Laura's own recollection, kind of like, wait a minute, I thought Wednesday killed her. What's going on here?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I and that's the red herring that he puts out, right? Is like her recounting of the tale makes you think like, oh, okay, I had it wrong. Um, but he clearly had a hand in like moving events towards this end. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was pretty well done. It was a nice confirmation at the end when Odin was like, I fucking manipulated everything. This is
Uh,
all so I can eat.
yeah. Yeah. What do you I'll put this I don't know. Maybe I'll put this in the chat, maybe not. But what did you think that coin was that Sweeney stole?
Oh gosh, man, that was like a I don't know. I
Like
I was
he's
waiting for it to be something.
yeah. Well, apparently there's more books, by the way. There's like a 1.5 book. I think there's a book that follows Mr. Nancy, and then maybe one that follows Whiskey Jack, maybe. Yeah, there's like a prequel book and then a 1.5 book, and there might be a sequel as well. Um, I mean, he certainly had the time. I don't remember what year this book came out, but in the forward, he was saying it was 10 years old at like 2011. So probably somewhere around 2001, 2002, I would assume the book came out. So,
Yeah, that would make sense.
yeah. But yeah, I that was something I couldn't quite figure out was the relevance of those coins. Obviously it turned Laura into a zombie, but like I kind of wish there was more to it.
But like how did it turn her into a zombie and is
Right.
that all it's good for?
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah, especially like and those coins were supposed to be like coins of protection. Like the one oh man, I'm not going to remember her name. Uh but anyways, the one of the fates that was sleeping. You know, the one
Oh,
that was sleeping and she like plucked the coin from the moon and it was like the Statue of Liberty coin.
I don't even remember that part.
So they were in like
Trying to read
Chicago
through
or
this
something
one.
like that, and it was the three fates and then the guy who like hit hit cows with a hammer. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember their names. The Zoria sisters. You remember this now?
Yeah, I'm looking through the thing right now.
Yeah, it's like old gods.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like the third or fourth down. So anyways, yeah, they were like the Slavic gods. And
Yeah.
anyways, she the one that was the sleeping sister that would come out at night. Um
Mhm.
she plucks the coin from the moon and gives it to him and is like, "Don't lose this one." Um and it was supposed to be some kind of coin of protection, but I don't know. I must have missed something, or maybe it wasn't explained well enough. Um, I don't know what that coin did. It was just a coin to me.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was like if that coin was what let Laura find him, but I don't think so because I thought she found him before that. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
she found him a couple times throughout the story, like on the train and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, but
And
I think the train was after the Zorya sisters.
oh,
I don't know. I don't know though. I don't know what those coins did. That I was just curious if you picked up on something that I didn't pick up on.
no, I was lost in the woods on the coins.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that Shadow liked to do coin tricks.
Yeah. What was I'll put this one down though. What was the most surprising god, new god or old god, and to you? And then what one were you like, oh, that was cool, like to see, like someone show up or whatever.
Um, I really liked Ibis and Jackal. I thought that was really cool to pull in the Egyptian um, ceremonial beliefs about death.
Mm-hmm.
Especially considering Shadow dies and they're like, "Yo, what's up?"
Yeah.
um, Obviously their names are a bit of a giveaway. I think more
Yeah.
than others, but I thought it was kind of cool how they ran their funeral parlor, even though they're gods of afterlife and stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like hitting the nail right on the head and driving it straight into the wood there. um, I did like that Jackal, i.e., Anubis,
Mm-hmm.
was portrayed not as like an evil entity of I'm gonna eat your heart, but more so a respectful person who understands that it's just business, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I enjoyed those as well. I think I'm gonna agree with you. I think that was one of my favorite sets of gods to see. Um, I Horus being a like crazy after a while, and then um, what was the cat's name? I can't remember the cat's name. But yeah, it was that was cool to see. Those ones were pretty cool, and the one that I found surprising was Anasazi. Anasazi? I think that's how you pronounce it. Mr. Nancy.
Hmm.
Um, that one was a surprise. Anansi. Anansi. That's what it is.
Yeah.
um, that one was a surprise. That I was like, awesome, awesome. I learned about this god, like when I was a kid, and like it was a cool thing. Like I hadn't thought about this god or folk legend or whatever you want to call it in a very long time, and it was just kind of like, oh, that was cool. Like, and I was thinking back about like all the other stories I had heard and stuff, and yeah, that was my like, oh wow, okay, cool.
Yeah. I didn't recognize Anansi, so
No,
no.
he's clearly the spider. And yeah, I listened to a lot of Anansi books when I was a kid. I enjoyed them a lot. So yeah, or
Well, cool.
yeah, but
What
so
did you
yeah, go for it.
what did you think of the kind of central America is kind of a central way station theme was pitched?
Like What do you mean? Like where all the gods came to die?
Yeah, they all came to America and they talked about how like even thousands of years ago
Yeah.
trade happened in America and everybody always visited and checked things out, but there wasn't much to trade
Yeah.
and
I liked it. I mean, it was a good explanation for how the gods got there, and then also how his magic system works. It feels like it feels like how he describes it is like they branch. Like if there's enough believers in two locations, the god will branch and one will stay and one will go. And so I thought that was really cool to see like the litter, the the religious litter that humans have left around the world. I mean, essentially that humans created these these eternal or immortal beings to suffer because eventually we moved on to other things and and uh, uh, start worshiping other beings or ideas or what have you, and we leave these immortal beings to suffer because of the whimsy of humans over time. So I thought it was cool. How
yeah,
about you?
I thought it was a good way to explain slash describe how America is kind of a culmination of multiple other cultures
Mhm.
crashing together,
Mhm.
and to bring in gods from multiple different cultures to America was kind of like a symbolic of that, which I thought was kind of neat.
I have a
So,
question for you.
what do you got?
What was your favorite coming to America story?
Coming to America story. I don't know.
Do you have one? Those are the stories that he wrote as like intermissions.
Yeah, I kind of tuned out a lot during those. um, I felt like a lot of them were kind of weird. So,
They were weird. I
um,
I'll go for it, and
yeah.
then
Why don't
maybe
you
I'll
go and I'll
jog your
think about
memory
them.
on stuff. So I enjoyed the slave one a lot. I forget which god was behind it, but it was the one where the twins in Africa were captured and sold to the slavers, and they were brought over to like I don't know somewhere in the Caymans or in the Caribbean or something like that, and then they were split up, and one went to America and the other one made it to what is now known as Haiti, um, and how like they both were struggling, and what happens to one of the twins happens to the other twin. I thought that was just it was a great story. It was very powerful to listen to, and it had some cool like magic bits to it that I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah, kind of. It's a tough topic to bring into a novel that is meant to entertain.
Yeah,
I think Gaiman did it tastefully.
yeah, I think it works really well because this novel is so real and gritty. Um, that he was able to right on the topic. I'm really impressed. Well, I don't know. I'm impressed from my perspective at the breadth of what Neil wrote on. Like, he, write what you know is usually like the cadence, right? Write what you know. Write what you know, and and that way you're not stumbling over other people's uh, uh, baggage, essentially. But like he wrote a very wide breadth of cultures and issues, and he tackled homosexuality. He tackled a little bit of transgender stuff. He tackled some slavery, or he touched on
Yeah.
a lot of these topics, right? And I was just very impressed by his willingness to do that. And then I was really just, I don't know. I I hope that they ring. Uh, is it true? No. I hope that they hit close to the mark, because it was good to read on a lot of different topics like that. In just one book, it was entertaining and insightful. And I hope that insight was guided by people who walked those paths, right? So I don't know.
Yeah. I think in terms of literary value, I think American Gods has a bit of everything that uh, is difficult to have is a sensitive topic.
Sure.
Okay. And to do that with the intent of entertaining is something that's not exactly easy. So
Sure. Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
think he took on a challenge and didn't disappoint.
Yeah. I think um I think he did a good job of capturing the soul of America, in my opinion. At least at the time of him writing and such, I really think he did a great job of showing there's a lot to America. There's a lot to the people in America, and I don't know. I was just impressed. I was impressed by the situations and the interpersonal um, issues and friendships that he cultivates. It felt it felt very American to me. By the end of the book, because the forward talked about that. The forward was talking about how he set out to kind of show the true gods of America and the true soul of America. And at the end, I was like, I'm in it. I think you did a great job. Granted, he's taking criticism for being super off base, but I think he laid down a world that can incorporate gods that he didn't think of, right? In the forward, he talks about sports is the true religion of America. That was one of the criticisms he received and stuff. But his magic system allows for that to be true. There could easily be a Mr. Sports, right? And very much so. Just like there was media and is media and television the same god? I think it is. But
I
yeah,
I thought so.
yeah. Yeah, so why couldn't there be a god for sports? So, I don't know. I enjoyed it.
I will say, because you mentioned media, like
Mhm.
fucking cringe was it that throughout the rest of the book after the I Love Lucy
Yeah.
scene. It's like, we want to see Lucy's tits.
Yeah.
Kept bringing it back up.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Every time I see the TV, oh God, that lady's gonna
Yeah.
come back. Want to see Lucy's tits?
Oh. Yeah. So, what did you think about his like world building and magic system? I've touched on it a lot. What's your thoughts on his you know, world building and magic
I
system?
think, yeah, I think the magic system is something that is at the opposite spectrum of what you normally think a magic system should be, right? Usually when you look at a magic system, you're like, it's something totally unbelievable that could never possibly happen by any physical means. Where Gaiman's magic system in this seemed more like, maybe that was a coincidence. Maybe it was a trick of the light. Maybe it just happened to be like that. Where, with like the things where, um, like, Wednesday could make any girl sleep with him and
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
Maybe he just had a special something that the ladies fawned over him, or
Right.
maybe he made back alley deals and stuff, and it was all a joke that he could get everybody to sleep with him, you know. And especially with like Mad Sweeney's coin tricks that
Mhm.
were magic, and Shadow was actually studying mundane coin tricks that he was like, I know how you did that. I think it
Yep.
was like this. No, it was magic, dude. It
Yeah.
was magic. I think that's a really interesting way to portray a magic system. That it's a subtle act, not some grand overture that is meant to shock and awe the crowd,
Yeah.
and leaves you wondering if it's even real in the first place.
Yeah.
That's what I've got to say about
I
that.
I agree. I mean, I like the idea that the magic system could grow with the imagination of people. Um, so like it just kind of makes this magic system believable because this magic system is flexible and could be anything that anybody could imagine and believe in, right? Uh, and I think that goes hand in hand with his like world building. He wrote characters and situations that were super believable, and then included those stories through like the coming to America and just the interactions with Shadow that kind of tie it all together. Um, like one of the coming to America stories that was about the lady who sleeps with a kid, or not a kid, but like she's a teenager at the time and gets knocked up by another teenager and then ends up like getting like moving out, and she becomes like this like thief, and then she sleeps with the warden, and then she has another kid. You remember this story, and like that was such a like drawn out story, but it fit in his world and it fleshed his world out because it showed like her continual belief in it wasn't pixies, it was a different way of saying it, but anyways it was essentially pixies. um um she believed in this creature over and over and over again, and eventually she ends up in America, and where she dies, um this pixie comes and gets her. And so it kind of shows how she dragged this part of her like home religion onto America, and that like longer story becomes a big part of the overall world building. I think he did a really good job of world building through storytelling. Um, yeah.
Yeah, I said this earlier, but like um his I think his writing style is definitely character centric and fleshing his world out through different character every like it's not one character experiencing a bunch of things, it's a bunch of characters experiencing one thing,
Yeah.
fleshing out the world.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I love that way of putting it. That's exactly right. Um, yeah. So, I think we've got time for like one more. Do you got a burning question that you want to sneak in before we start wrapping up?
um huh. I had something about Loki, but it has since departed.
That's all
you
right.
you got anything?
Um, that's a good question. I'm sure I can cook up a couple of things. Uh, how did we'll get into this. How do you feel Shadow grew, or if he even grew, with his relationship with his wife? Like, what was your take on the situation? Um, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of touched on the like him needing to decide what he wants to do instead of following others' direction
Mhm.
a little bit. Specifically with Laura, I think that was evident um with like how she showed up and killed the two agents, the wood and
Mr. Wood
stone.
and Stone. Yeah.
Yeah, and how essentially he was like holy cow, I can't believe that just happened. Like I gotta get the fuck out of here now. And I think that continues the trend of Laura essentially wrecking Shadow's life by by what she decides to do.
Yeah.
Um, and I think as the story goes on, he kind of starts to understand that as long as he just kind of goes with it, he's culpable for allowing her actions.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think he definitely grows with his relationship with Laura and understands that he needs to express himself more.
Yeah. I think from my perspective, I think that Laura was his foil. I think she was the catalyst that kept making Shadow change. First, it was her infidelity and him like shutting down and trying to put that out of his mind, coping with loss, infidelity, freedom, a lot of big emotions all at once, right? And then, and then, how does he handle this whole like situation of like she can find him and she's dead but still alive and he's still he has to like reconcile how he feels. He's forced by her presence to reconcile how he feels. And I think she was his foil. um I don't I don't remember if he forgave her at the end, but I I want to say that he maybe he did, but it was nice to see him not just like forgive her right away. You know what I mean? Like I enjoyed I en- I enjoyed watching him grow through his struggle with her. Um
Yeah.
so yeah. Yeah, it was a good foil that kind of like worked together at the end, right? They were kind of like I don't know, on different wavelengths, and then at the end they became in tuned and just kind of it all started to work together. She sacrificed Loki in the name of Shadow, and things just started like snowballing from there.
Yeah. I I was trying to find it real quick. I thought at like the tree point is when it was like forgiving her for pretty much everything.
Yeah, I think so. I it was that or at the end in the epilogue where she gives up the coin. I is that at the end? It was at some point
Yeah,
he
that was at the
finds
end.
her as she's like dragging herself away from the being impaled and stuff. Um
Impaling,
yeah, yeah.
self stabbing.
And she like tells him to give up or to take the coin. And I think in the end he does forgive her. But he doesn't forgive her because he should forgive her. He actually forgives her. Like I think at the start he was just kind of he was ready to forgive, but he didn't want to. And then after that, he wasn't ready to forgive, but he wanted to. And then in the end, he wanted to and was ready. It's a lot
Yeah,
like
I think
what you were saying is like he had to go through that growth of making his own decisions instead of letting other people make decisions for him.
yeah. Ugh.
All right.
That was an interesting I think mindset though of like how do you process Laura's infidelity considering she died
Yeah.
before he even found out about it.
Right. Right. Yeah. I think he got hit with a lot of big emotions all at once. That was it was a big deal. I mean, I don't know how you would process it. I think a lot of people would shut down like he did. I think that is an emotional overload that people either would react in big reactions, overreactions, or the like, or they would shut down. I kind of wish Alex was around to kind of discuss that point because I'd like to hear his take on on that. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, why don't we get into the final impressions here?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I think there's sequel books. Do you think they follow Shadow? I don't know if we need to get into predictions, but like,
Yeah. I feel like I feel like it would I don't think it's Gaiman's style really to stay on Shadow.
yeah,
If if there is a sequel, or I would imagine the sequel to follow somebody else going through some other godly interaction.
yeah. I think Gaiman would be very hard pressed to write a sequel to this book. Um, I think he could certainly fit tons of stories into this like world that he's built. Um, but to do it again, I think he'd need a new writing style. Otherwise, it might feel contrived. Um, and I think Shadow's story is done. Uh, I think it's pretty thoroughly done. So what was your
Hmm.
final impressions then?
I so I'd say right up until about the tree part, I was going to be hard pressed to say that I liked the book. And then the tree part happened and things started kind of culminating together, and we finally circled around back to the why the fuck was Wednesday so like morose about Laura's death. And
Yeah.
um you know, it's not often that a book can go through almost the entire thing with me going, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And then be like, there is a point. This is what's going on here.
Yep.
So I was pleasantly surprised when things started
Clicking.
culminating.
Yeah. I was right there with you. And this is the part I think where I'm gonna have to break my rule at the start. Um, I think this is where Neil's book and what's her face, the of Jade and Shadow, God, is
Yeah.
it Gods of Jade and Shadow? Anyways, the Jade and Shadow book and the American Gods book differ here. Is right at the end. I was very upset. It was funny because I was telling my wife about this book as I was reading it, and I was like, once I realized how similar the two books were, I was like, this is so goddamn stupid. I am I'm listening to the story and I'm enjoying like the interactions, but like this is so close to what we've read already, and I had to put that kind of out of my mind. But the difference here between the two books is how it ends. Everything clicks together in Neil's book, and God, the Jade and Shadow book, everything got to the end, and then it was just, and we were good. We were happy ever after. You know, it it was nice to at the end be like, wow, that story had like a had not like a moral, but there was a point to that story, and it ended it. It didn't even have to end good. Like Laura didn't get her "I'm back alive" situation. She ended up dying in the end. Um, and I believe Shadow refuses to go back to America in the end. So like, it doesn't necessarily end on a happy note, but all the threads are tied up very nicely, very professionally, um, and it felt good at the end. Like, it was funny because I was telling my wife about how I really wasn't into this book. This wasn't my jam. And then at the end, I was like, "That was a great book," and she was like, "Didn't you, didn't you hate that book?" And I was like, "No, it's fine. It was great. It was a good book." So, I mean,
I
that's
wanna
yeah. Go ahead.
I wanna use an iceberg metaphor real quick.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
So
We
the
love
the
iceberg
classic
metaphors.
metaphor, yeah, classic iceberg metaphor being you see the tip of the iceberg. The book's job is to expose the rest of the iceberg underneath the surface.
Yep.
And I feel like the book previously mentioned, that is not American Gods, was like, hey, did you know that there's this iceberg here? And explained it in great detail. And then at the end, it was like, look, this is the iceberg.
Yep.
And you're like, yeah,
Bye.
you told me about
Yeah.
it. Thanks. Like, I know you explained it 10 chapters ago.
Yep.
Where I feel like American Gods was more like, hey, did you notice that patch of ice over there? What about that patch? Did you see that patch? Did you see that over there? Did you know we're standing on an iceberg?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great way of putting it. He did a Exactly that. That was a really good way of putting it. He essentially like focused in a little bit here and then focused in a little bit here and then at the end he pulls back and you're like, "Oh, damn. That's
Yeah.
an iceberg," following the metaphor. But yeah, you're exactly right. And through those pinpoint perspectives, you're able to get a really good view of the entire story or world, the magic system, all of those things. Yeah, yeah.
I will I will say though there was one point in the book that almost ruined it and made me shut the book off out of fury because of this one single point. And I feel like I understand why he did it, but it was just so fucking stupid. And I was
Should we
like,
clickbait
oh my
everybody and
God.
end the stream right here? We just
All
clickbait
right, see you
everybody.
guys next
Yep,
week. Bye.
yep, bye. No, go for it. Go for it.
Part in the car with Sam when they're driving to the bar and she's going through what all she believes in. And the words "I believe" happened about 600 fucking times. I was ready to shut it off right then and there. I was like, if there are more than 5 left, I'm done. I'm not picking this book back up.
You know what's ironic? Is we use similar statements in this show like 500 times.
Yeah.
So to like point the spotlight a little bit on the show, we do a lot of that of like, yeah, I liked this and yeah. No,
But at least we don't go, I liked this, 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 I liked this. I liked this. I like 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 this. It got old real fast.
I don't know. I felt like it was, in my opinion, it was kind of, it made sense. And I didn't have that problem, but I could see where you could have that problem. Now that you've pointed it out, I'd probably be upset with it. Like, I didn't notice it at the time, but yeah. Oh. So.
I was like, I was seconds away from hitting the skip 30 seconds button.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, you gotta be shitting me.
Wow.
I don't know why it got under my skin like that much, but I was just like, enough's enough, dude.
I wasn't that close at all. Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, though, like at the end, I was like, yeah, that was a good book.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Oh, man. All right, let's get into wrapping this show up, dude.
Yeah. So the next book we know about for October 8th, October 8th is Mistborn, The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. Yeah. Brando Sando book.
Woot!
Totally not rigged at all. This is Brando Sando's first book in the Mistborn saga and his first series novel. Super awesome. So read it. Hurry up, it's long. After that, I don't know if we ever decided what we were gonna do after that.
There you go. I threw it out there.
You did?
Yep, it's there.
Okay. And then after that, for October 22nd, Zombie Fallout by Mark Tufo, taken back from the serious novels. Jumping into just a really funny novel. Funny story by Mark Tufo.
Is it comedic?
It is very comedic.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
All right. I saw that and I was like, all right, we're getting into Halloween. It's going to be creepy. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of zombies, but let's do this, And now it's going to be comedic. Okay, I'm into it. If it's going to be a zombie story, I hope it to be comedic. So, yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to decide how much of it was me finding it
Oh
comedic
no.
and it being of comedic
Oh
value.
no. Okay, you heard it here,
I
folks. Might not be comedic.
I enjoyed it and thought it was funny. So
All right. All right.
I to be fair though, I
To be
like
fair.
zombie stories.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
hopefully that didn't skew my finding it comedic.
Oh, all right. Let's get into the end here. We are the 800s, obviously, and we're part of the fantastic DM's table. The DM's table is something that myself and Adam started a long time ago with Roll with Advantage with our friends, and we've kind of created this media thing that does a bunch of stuff that we enjoy. And we hope you enjoy it as well. We do, like I said, Roll with Advantage, which is a D&D podcast. We've got this show, the 800s. We do like nerdy Etsy stuff and all sorts of things. You can go check it out at dmstable.com. And it would be great if you headed over to our YouTube channel and subscribed. You can find the YouTube link down below. And let us know what you're into. We're looking to kind of expand our offering here, whether it's reviews, whether it's like more succinct book reviews, like an 800s boiled down, or some sort of stream that you might want to be a part of and enjoy. Let us know. Hit us up on our socials. You can check us out on Facebook at The DM's Table and on Twitter at DM's Table. Through our socials, DM us, and you can get a direct link to our Discord. Our Discord is a private server, which allows us to interact in a friendly manner, creating a community that is fun and enjoyable. We try to do all sorts of interesting things in the community. Right now, we have been talking a lot about 3D printing and about Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. That was quite the conversation. Yeah. So hit us up on our socials for an invite to the Discord. Um, if you want to see what books are available or that we're going to read, check out the DM's table or check out dmstable.com/the 800s. You'll see what we're currently reading, and if you check out our Patreon, you can vote on books that are coming in the future. That also helps support us and keep the lights on for the website. Um, yeah, it's basically the website costs. We don't make any money doing this, so it's really about if you guys want us to continue putting out our content. Your support is very, very much appreciated. Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/DMsTable. I don't think we have any themes coming up. Our theme master has been gone for a little bit. So, yeah, I don't think we have any themes coming up. So,
Throw us out your cozy books because it's
cozy,
winter time coming
cozy,
up. Yeah,
ooh,
cozy books.
ooh, yeah, we'll be
Yeah,
in.
read by the fire.
Yeah, we'll be doing November soon. So I think our next book vote will be for a November book. So let's do a Read by
Yeah.
the Fire book. I like that. Okay. Uh, yeah. So, anyways, thank you so much for joining us on the 800s. I'm Alan. This is my co-host Adam, and it's been great. Uh, See you next book.
Yeah, see you guys right around the corner. This corner right here of a book
Oh,
I
hey,
have in
I
my
know that
hands.
book.
Yeah, we've read it before. It just